Who's a dark horse potentially here, Kyle, that we should all watch for?
I think it's Oklahoma. And I think the one thing with Oklahoma is if you turn back 3 weeks, 4 weeks, Oklahoma was going to be not a national seed, but probably was going to host. Now they're going to have to go on the road. But they go to Blacksburg, which is the first time. Virginia Tech's a really good club, don't get me wrong, but it's the first time that they've hosted. And I think Oklahoma matches up really well, not only with Virginia Tech and everybody in that regional, but with anybody in the country because it could go so well 1-2. Jonathan Gray, Dylan Overton gives them different things that a lot of clubs have across the country. And if you have not one but two aces and enough offense, which we've seen from OU, the way that the game is played right now, so dependent upon dominant pitching, I think Oklahoma's going to have a chance to really surprise some people.
All right, Ben, his dark horse, Oklahoma. Who do you have?
Well, it's hard to say Florida's a dark horse. I mean, I'm no stranger to Omaha. They've been there 3 years in a row, but the year they've had this year, only 29 wins. You got to go back and remember, lost 2 first-round picks last year, a couple of second-round picks. They kind of started over, got off to a bad start with a new club, but it's a club that's grown up throughout the SEC, had a pretty good record in conference play this year, well above 500. But I look for them to go to Bloomington. They're going to be over there with Indiana, and I tell you what, their strength of schedule that Florida has this year, the number 2 strength of schedule and a high RPI, I think they're battle-tested enough. They can go into Bloomington. They won't be, out of their element at all in a big situation right there. I look for them to do well.
You know, you guys just mentioned a couple of teams. I don't know how many people would be surprised if they went there because we've seen Stony Brook last year.
Yeah.
We've seen Kent State last year. As we move along in college baseball, and you've been around this sport for a long time, what have you seen change as it pertains to being more of a national sport where you can win in the North? Being in the North isn't necessarily the huge impediment that it used to be. Parity, right?
I think parity, but I also think commitment. And you look, let's take the Big Ten for one, the commitment to new stadiums. Indiana opens a new stadium this year. They're going to host a regional. We've seen new stadiums recently at Purdue. Ohio State has a great facility. Minnesota is committed to a new one. Nebraska plays at a good ballpark. Places that in the past, I think baseball was maybe an afterthought. It's not an afterthought anymore, and these athletic departments are seeing that if they put money into it, there's a good return on their investment.
Yeah, I think you're seeing in the SEC. The SEC has shown that if you build the nice ballparks, I mean, that's why the SEC has the top 5, attendance rankings in the country again this year. LSU over 12,000 per game. I think they're starting to see if you can build the new ballparks, people will come. You can make money in college baseball. I think it's really starting to expand nationwide now.